The sun streamed through the grimy windows of Lydia's diner, casting a dull light over the chipped tables and mismatched chairs. Naomi Bennett, 29, wiped down the counter for the umpteenth time, her movements mechanical yet precise. The small diner on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama, had been her second home for nearly 6 years. Every inch of the place felt familiar. The worn cushions of the booths, the hum of the ancient refrigerator in the back, even the faded smell of bacon grease that lingered in the air. At 9:30 a.m., the usual crowd of regulars had settled into their seats, cups of coffee steaming in front of them. Naomi glanced up as the bell above the door jingled, signaling a new customer. She expected to see one of the neighborhood regulars, but was startled instead by a tall man in a casual hoodie and jeans. His face was unmistakable. Jamal Rhodes, a tech mogul whose success story was plastered across every news outlet and social media platform. The din of conversation in the diner softened as patrons noticed him. Some whispered, others subtly reached for their phones. Jamal, clearly trying to avoid attention, slid into a corner booth and pulled a laptop from his bag. Naomi's coworker, Sandra, froze mid-step, staring at him in shock. "I got this," Naomi said, setting down her cloth. She approached the table with her usual warmth. "Welcome to Lydia's," she greeted him with a practiced smile. "Can I get you started with anything?" Jamal looked up, a flicker of relief crossing his face. "Just coffee black. And if possible, somewhere quiet to work." "Coming right up," Naomi said. "Don't worry. I'll make sure no one disturbs you." She meant it too. Naomi had endured her share of challenging customers and demanding shifts, but prided herself on treating everyone with respect, celebrity or not. Throughout the next hour, she kept a watchful eye on Jamal's table, politely intercepting several patrons who attempted to approach him for selfies or autographs. Each time, she redirected them with firm but kind words. By the time Naomi returned to the counter, her boss, Randy Fields, was already glaring at her. Randy, a stocky man in his 50s, had run the diner for decades, his temper as infamous as his blatant disregard for his employees' well-being. Over the years, Naomi had learned to endure his snide comments and thinly veiled jabs, some of which had taken an ugly turn into outright racial insults. "What the hell do you think you're doing, Naomi?" Randy hissed, his face reddening. "What do you mean?" she asked, keeping her voice steady. "That's Jamal Rhodes sitting in my diner. Do you have any idea how much publicity we could get if I post about this? Get a picture of him. Now." Naomi bristled, but remained composed. "He came here for some peace and quiet, Randy. He's not looking for attention." Randy scoffed, leaning closer. "You don't get to make those decisions. Do what I tell you, or you're out." Naomi's hands tightened into fists at her sides, memories of past confrontations flooding her mind. She recalled the time Randy had called her just another lazy hire when she'd asked for an extra break after pulling a double shift. She thought of the countless times he'd used demeaning nicknames or dismissed her complaints about how he treated staff of color. She'd swallowed it all, desperate to keep her job, but this time was different. "He's a customer, Randy, not a photo op," Naomi said, her voice low but firm. "If you want to exploit someone, you'll have to do it yourself." Randy's face darkened. "You don't talk to me like that. I'm the boss here, Naomi. You think you can just do whatever you want? Fine. You're fired." Naomi felt the weight of his words hit her like a punch to the chest. She stared at him, a mixture of shock and anger brewing inside her. "You're firing me for doing my job with integrity?" Randy sneered. "Get your things and get out." Taking a deep breath, Naomi untied her apron and set it on the counter. She glanced around the diner, her eyes meeting those of a few regulars who looked at her with quiet sympathy. She turned toward the break room to grab her purse, but before she could take more than a few steps, a voice rang out behind her. "Excuse me." The diner fell silent. Everyone turned to see Jamal Rhodes standing at his table, his gaze fixed on Randy. The tech mogul's expression was calm, but his tone carried an edge of authority. "Is there a problem here?" Jamal asked. "No problem at all, Mr. Rhodes," Randy stammered, his bluster deflating. "Just a minor staffing issue." Jamal raised an eyebrow. "It didn't sound minor. I saw what happened. This young woman was doing her job, protecting my privacy, and you fired her for it." Randy fumbled for words, but Jamal didn't give him the chance. "What's your name?" he asked, turning to Naomi. "Naomi Bennett," she replied, her voice steady despite the tears threatening to spill. Jamal nodded. "Naomi, do you have any interest in working for me? I'm looking for an executive assistant, someone with integrity and strong people skills. You seem like a perfect fit. Naomi's breath caught. Are you serious? Completely, Jamal said, pulling out his phone. I've already sent a message to my HR department. They'll contact you this afternoon. Starting salary is $90,000 with full benefits. The diner erupted into whispers. Randy stood frozen, his face a mix of shock and humiliation. Naomi felt her legs go weak, but managed to steady herself. I'd love to, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Great, Jamal said, offering a small smile. He turned back to Randy. And as for this establishment, I'll be sure to let my millions of followers know how you treat your employees. With that, Jamal returned to his seat, leaving Randy speechless. Naomi gathered her things, her head held high, and walked out of Lydia's diner for the last time. She stepped outside into the warm Alabama air, her heart pounding with a mixture of disbelief and exhilaration. For the first time in years, she felt truly free. Little did she know, her life was about to change in ways she could never have imagined. The next morning, Naomi sat in her small apartment, her hands trembling as she scrolled through her email. The formal job offer from Rhodes Enterprises gleamed on the screen, each word surreal. She had spent years living paycheck to paycheck, budgeting every dollar, and now she was being offered a position with a six-figure salary. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from friends and family who had seen Jamal's viral tweet. Witnessed a moment of integrity today. A diner worker chose doing the right thing over keeping her job. Thrilled to welcome her to Rhodes Enterprises. Good people deserve good things. The post had already racked up hundreds of thousands of likes and retweets, with comments praising Naomi's courage and condemning Randy's behavior. She glanced at her phone as another message popped up. Car will pick you up at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Excited to work with you. Jr. Naomi exhaled, overwhelmed by the whirlwind of emotions. She thought of her late grandmother, who had raised her after her parents passed away. Her grandmother had always told her, stand tall, baby. The world's gonna test you, but never let it break your spirit. At exactly 8 a.m. the following day, a sleek black SUV pulled up outside her apartment complex. Naomi climbed in, dressed in the best outfit she could piece together from her modest wardrobe, a navy blouse and black slacks. The drive to the Rhodes Enterprises headquarters felt like a dream. The building itself was a towering glass structure in downtown Birmingham, a symbol of modern success. Naomi was greeted warmly by the receptionist and escorted to the executive floor. Her new workspace was spacious and elegant, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. On her desk sat a note. Welcome to the team. Thank you for reminding us all of the importance of integrity. Jamal *. Naomi's first day flew by in a blur of introductions and training sessions. Her colleagues were kind and professional, and Jamal himself checked in briefly to ensure she was settling in. By the time she left the office that evening, she was brimming with hope. Over the next week, Naomi's story continued to make waves. Social media exploded with support for her, turning her into a symbol of resilience and integrity. Service workers across the country shared their own stories of mistreatment, inspired by her courage to stand up for what was right. Meanwhile, Lydia's diner faced the opposite reaction. Randy's attempt to spin the narrative backfired as customers who had witnessed the incident began sharing their own accounts online. Reviews for the diner plummeted, and several staff members quit in solidarity with Naomi. Naomi, however, felt no need for revenge. I don't wish him harm, she told a local reporter who reached out for an interview. I just hope he learns that treating people with dignity isn't optional. Back at her new job, Naomi quickly proved herself to be an invaluable asset. Her keen organizational skills, empathy, and ability to navigate complex situations made her stand out among her peers. Jamal often sought her input on projects, impressed by her insight and work ethic. One evening, as Naomi sat in her new apartment, a modern space in a safe, vibrant neighborhood, she reflected on how far she had come. She thought about the countless nights she had worked double shifts, enduring Randy's sneers and the weight of financial insecurity, all while holding on to her sense of self-worth. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. The world's gonna test you, baby, but you're stronger than you know. Naomi soon found ways to pay her blessings forward. She started a social media campaign called #ServiceWithDignity, advocating for better treatment and fair wages for service workers. The campaign gained traction, sparking conversations about workplace equality and respect. One day, Jamal approached her with an idea. What do you think about starting a foundation for service workers? Something that offers scholarships or emergency assistance for people like you who deserve better opportunities. Naomi's eyes lit up. I'd love to help with that. Within months, the Integrity Foundation was born, and Naomi became its director. The organization quickly gained momentum, providing resources and support to service workers across the country. One evening, Naomi drove past Lydia's diner on her way home. The parking lot was nearly empty, and through the window, she saw Randy wiping down tables himself. Most of his staff had quit, and the diner was struggling to stay afloat. Naomi felt no satisfaction in his plight, only a quiet hope that he had learned something valuable from the experience. As she pulled into her apartment complex, her phone buzzed with a message from Jamal. Big executive meeting tomorrow. Bring your A-game, Naomi. The world needs more people like you. Naomi smiled, setting her alarm for the next day. Her life had transformed in ways she never could have imagined, but she knew one thing for certain. She hadn't changed. She was still the same woman who believed in doing the right thing, even when it came at a cost. And that, she thought, was worth more than anything.